Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble and on Patreon for access support. Any kind of updates and the such usually I go about on Twitter X. And later today we'll have Midnight Suns episode later on. Again, yesterday Sunday is usually my day off from the channel, and again, a reminder that I already have some completely gameplay series if you want to check them out. Okay, news. Don't have a lot of gaming news, more industry stuff. Continuing with the AMD theme, kind of the Check You interview, the tidbits and everything. Seemingly, he kind of confirms that the next FSR version will be fully AI based. Again, I think it's for them at least the excuse is to be improving on power efficiency and battery life for handhelds. Again, my take is if you uh, go about the AI route, I think it's more in line to be more competitive with the DLSS and even Intel XESS, which are both AI based. So far, in terms of quality, given that basically the FSR being more automated process to a certain degree, so it's not very specific for each case use case scenario regarding games. It's kind of more like a broad, similar to filter based. At least what he calls there, it's more filter based in the sense that he just has like general settings for whatever it is, and then he just tries to guess what the upscaling does there. But with AI, I think the machine learning in there, I think it can be optimized for each game. That's why the LSS seems way better than FSR at this moment. And I think it's good because I think by the route, the overall strategy that they have, unifying the thing between RDNA and CDNA, becoming UNDA, and the fact that to a certain point they are scaling back the resources. It's not good for us, but I think the overall theme in terms of the long term um, business strategy there, I think it's going to serve us a little bit better in the future. At least that's my hopes there. Um, the fact that they are scaling back the high-end GPU for now because they want to focus now on putting this UNDA architecture in place, so unifying both those architectures, and the fact that they want to start I don't know, capturing more market share in the GPU side of things and with the AI stuff, and having the resources to just develop for one architecture. To a certain extent, it will be a little bit more similar, like an NVIDIA kind of a thing there, because NVIDIA only has one architecture that they work for and develop for, and that architecture can be applied for the AI accelerators and the server stuff there, and also for the GPU, the DIY GPUs market, which is us gamers. And their strategy has been working because they got better the upscaler. Even the RTX stuff there is way better. I'm assuming that's a consequence of them developing hardware, taking into account that single architecture thing, and hopefully AMD can manage to be at the same level, to be more competitive at least with NVIDIA at this moment in time. In the near future, I don't know. I will. I'm assuming, given the interviews that he's been making here, this Check You, this senior vice president. Um, I'm assuming this transition phase till completed will take around probably around 5 years or so, but we might start getting some results in the RDNA 6 in terms of the architecture fusion. We might seeing some things be implemented there, kind of the same way that PlayStation 5 Pro is introducing some RDNA 4 aspects of their GPUs on the PS5 Pro, which is still based on RDNA 3. It just, I think they brought basically the NPU side of things for the PISR, technology, the upscaler technology for the PS5 Pro. I think we're going to see some improvements already in RDNA 4, at least in terms of um, not quality, but I think better implementation on FSR. We might see the FSR 4 coming out already with this RDNA 4, maybe as a test point. I think the first version of this FSR 4 AI accelerated technology is going to be an improvement regarding FSR 3, but it's not going to match DLSS quality there. But I think it's going to be improvement for AMD, and we might see probably more faster iterations and updates in the next 5 years until they reach a competitiveness level with NVIDIA in terms at least quality with the upscaler, and probably in 5 years we might start to see also a little bit race to the high-end GPU again if they manage to get around a little, catch a little bit more market share. At least that's my hope and perception from at least what they're trying to implement throughout this, I don't know, this next 5 years or so, which is very interesting. And hopefully the things go well. It's a huge gamble in certain aspects, but I think they are positioned. The fact that they're being very successful to a certain degree, and going about doing their thing, even though they don't reach the mark 100% of the time. We got the Zen 5 launch, which is not that good, but I think it's already trying to branch or trying to go about in a different direction. This Zen 4 to Zen 5. I think their marketing should be a little bit better, be more clear and transparent, and try not to do this kind of shenanigans that they did, especially with these new APUs. There were some confusing results there on benchmarks, especially also with Zen 5, the way they present their own internal data. Again, that's why you always trust independent reviewers with any kind of hardware and software launch. But yeah, hopefully they can turn around and improve everything, and we will see an overall improvement on their products. In this case, on the GPU side, given that the CPU is kind of competitive still with Intel, and to a certain extent, I think that they offer better value than Intel, not only given for the 13 and 14 Gen failures that Intel had, but also by the fact that they can compete in terms of performance and deliver their performance with less power demands. I think it's way better than Intel at this point in time. But yeah, other than that, regarding this FSR4 thing, I think we'll see eventually, probably if they are, according to rumors and leaks, maybe do some presentation on CES beginning next year. Maybe we'll get the tease before. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they are cooking there. Hopefully, we will get good news until the end of the year. Then we got a continuation here, kind of follow up of the Samsung issues with their 3 and 2 nanometer process there. The yields, I think they having some issues still, even though they secured some orders for the 2 nanometers. Even though this 2 nanometers supposedly is going to only come out around 2026, 2027, at least it's what is expected. So in about 1 to 2 years from now. Yeah, and this client supposedly it's I'm a what? Where is it? I just highlighted here. Ambarella, which is basically a chip designer, develops video compression and image processing solutions, and by solutions, kind of SoCs. Basically, they are used mostly, at least the chip designs by this company, automotive application along with surveillance system as well. Not sure if the automotive application has to do something with the dash cam kind of a thing there, or anything like that, or surveillance in terms of cameras. I don't know. Interestingly enough, they went full on for this company. It's good because for Samsung, because even though they didn't get a conclusive breakthrough yet in these yields on this process manufacturing, supposedly people are taking a chance on this. I hope that Samsung can turn around this and get around and do a breakthrough regarding this yield stuff. Mainly because, again, competition. If Even though TSMC is like the top tier kind of foundry in terms of bleeding edge chip production, more competition is always better, because at the end, again, you get a supposedly free market working if that competition enters in the race there. Then continue with Samsung. We got some former executives from Samsung arrested allegedly stealing around $30 billion worth of DRAM technology for illegal semiconductor firm in China. Again, this basically comes after a lot of sanctions imposed on China. Again, they have to go around and try to avoid those sanctions. And one of the things here, that's it's basically corporate spying, or whatever you want to call it. Again, these two individuals are two former executives under the age of 60, were intercepted by South Korean police and were charged under the Industrial Technology Protection Act and the Fair Competition Prevention Act. Yeah, they were basically stealing, allegedly stealing from Samsung in terms of the DRAM side of things, and delivering it to a company supposedly in China, semiconductor manufacturing unit in China. There also been some news regarding some people exiting Samsung, or engineering staff there, and going to China. Again, they offer more money because, again, to circumvent this kind of sanctions kind of stuff, given that they have to start to produce everything in house, and to attract the brains of the manufacturing processes and everything. They will do what they can, sometimes probably illegally, to get around and get a grab on that technology so they can catch up there. Again, when you go about this route, if they eventually have a breakthrough, because they've been working on these things for some time now. Uh, this company specifically, supposedly, is as production lines similar to Samsung, and start prototyping in April of 2022, even though they haven't transitioned to mass production stages yet. Again, maybe some fine tuning is needed there. And again, with all the fact that it's very similar to how they work with the same kind of process that Samsung does, is because they attracted a lot of outside of China kind of talent there on the engineering side, maybe some production engineers, and offered them more money that were paying for in Samsung, and usually that's a good financial incentive. Yeah, as you can see, South Korea police believe that more than 30 of Samsung's employees moved to China to work with the semiconductor firm, and they are working on identifying the individuals. Again, yeah, this is kind of a way of trying to circumvent those sanctions, instead of trying to um, enforce, or trying to stall China's ambitions through other means. I think, again, going through sanctions usually usually backfires, and usually, especially in long term, it doesn't have any kind of effect. It just delays a little bit uh, the ambitions, in this case, on chip manufacturing, which we saw this from GPU stuff. They try to sanction the 4090 sales to China. Again, NVidia circumvent that by launching the 4090D. They just made more money for a lower tiered product because it was the same price. And the same thing will happen in the. I think they're already planning for the 5000 series, launching even a 580D and a 590D, specifically designed for Chinese markets. Again, it's a little bit tricky, but at the end, it just gives more troubles in companies like NVIDIA to deal with China. Um, but China will eventually, and any kind of countries that are in a more broad scheme of things, targets of sanctions. Usually, they you just create basically a black market for that sanction, the industry that you sanctioned for. You just create basically a black market to avoid legalities. And again, long term usually doesn't have any kind of effects, at least noticeable ones. It just delays things for a short period of time. At least that's my perception there. Again, we will see more stories about this for sure. They already did something similar with OLED kind of a thing, OLED technology. An ex Samsung engineer leaked information, but yeah, this one is a big one because it's $3 billion worth kind of technology. Again, must be some secret on the how the company works with this kind of technology, but yeah, it is what it is. And then lastly, we got interesting fact here in Germany. The RTX 40 Super Series are basically outselling the RX 7000 series in Germany. Even though German market is in terms of GPU sales, usually it's more kind to AMD. I think they try to cater more to the value proposition of the product itself. They are more favorable to the value proposition than just brand recognition. But yeah, it's still a little bit of a big gap. Not in unit souls that much, from what I understand, but it is reflecting itself on GPU sales. Interestingly enough, almost 1,300 GeForce units were sold, which signifies around almost 60% of shares on the market share itself, averaging a price around almost 700 euros. Again, all these values here supposedly already have tax included. When you present usually values in euros, it has the value with the tax included. Against almost 975 AMD units with a share of around 32%, give or take, and an average price selling of $500, no, euros, sorry. Which basically, in terms of revenue, so average, I don't know, I forget how they call this, average, whatever it is, price. Um, Average single price, something like that, of around 64% revenue, while the AMD it only signifies around 35%. So because you sold less um, um, GPUs with the cheaper price. Again, in terms of revenue overall, it will have a bigger impact there. Interesting enough, the 4080 Super, 4070 Super, at least in Germany, sold the best there. In terms of AMD, similarly, is the 7800 XE. I think it's a very good deal if you find it for the right price. Um, because it's all, I think it goes against the 4070 Super pretty well. It fares pretty well. But I think in terms of pricing, the fact that regarding the 4080 Super, it's still around 1,000 euros in Germany, while the 7900 XTX usually hovers around 950 euros. Again, this price difference in terms of value, it's not that much, given that the DLSS and even ray tracing performance on NVIDIA cards, it's better than the AMD ones. Even though in ray tracing rasterization performance is basically the same, to a certain degree. They trade blows. I think overall the AMD card it's around 2% faster in 4K in terms of rasterization and overall average there. But yeah, in terms of ray tracing, 4080 Super destroys the 7900 XTX, and even on upscaler, you got the NVIDIA technology. It's way better than that. If they can maintain, for example, the AMD below the 900 euros in this case, around 850 euros, I think they can have a little bit more claw on the market. But yeah, again, Europe's economy is not the best, especially when it comes to disposable income, and the fact that also usually people that they made a math when the people that usually spend 500 euros or more, usually they tend to choose NVIDIA because usually they are priced higher on average with the competition of AMD. while again, when people are spending less than 500 euros, they usually tend to choose more AMD, which is kind of on par with the overall market. At least that's my sense there. But yeah, interesting details here. Again, this is from a sole retailer, from Mind Factory. It's kind of the equivalent of Micro Center in the USA. It's like the biggest retailer or physical store retail chain there in Germany. But yeah, it's kind of a point of reference of how the market might sway in specific areas, in this case, Germany. Yeah, interesting details there. I think this comes basically in conjunction with, I think, the change in the strategy, the overall strategy in AMD, with unifying everything in the same architecture, bring the developers. In their case, on the software side of FSR4 being AI scaled, in that sense. Again, hopefully in 5 years we will see the results and they can be competitive with NVIDIA GPU stuff there. But yeah, they have some catch up to do specifically on the ray tracing performance and the upscaler kind of technology there. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see for that. I'm just going to wrap up here some game deals. We still have Batman Arkham Collection, 85% off on the free games plus the DLC. We got Guardians of the Galaxy, 80% off, and we got System Shock Remake, 55% off. And again, you got the demo here, which is very excellent to see. On GOG, we got Children of Morta Complete Edition, around 71% off. Then you got from PlayStation. Again, I only recommend PlayStation here because these games on GOG, they don't have any kind of DRM activation, so you just download the file and it never goes online. You don't need any kind of online connection after you download the game there. We got Days Gone, 75% off. God of War, the first one, 60% off. Horizon Zero Dawn, the complete edition, 75% off. And then here we got also Jagged Alliance, 50% off, which is normal for this game when it is on sale. And then lastly, we got wartales, which is kind of similar with Jagged Alliance in how he goes about it, but in a more medieval kind of fantasy kind of thing in terms of setting. And it's 40% off. But yeah, for today, this is it. Not much gaming news happening here. Got a calm weekend. Again, got the usual stuff with Ubisoft, but it is what it is. I try not to cover too much drama. I don't have the time and patience to do so. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up here with my Patreon for extra support. The extra support at this moment in time is more for me to try to get a better storage solution, so I can get backups of stuff that I do for my clients, and also some extra space for the videos that I do for the channel. And with all that said, I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you in the next one. So until then, I'm a Master out.